Okie dokie, I believe we are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I am your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking aims at kicking candy ass, live and in living color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. Welcome back to another edition of the show, a very special Wednesday edition of Grande's Graveyard, where tonight we will take the requests from the fans. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, yes, tonight it is fan choice. I put up a prompt over about 3 weeks ago, a little bit close to a month ago, where I said I'm going to do a versus episode, and I wanted to hear suggestions. I wanted to hear what people wanted to see battle what. And we got a couple of fun suggestions. Of course, Tom offered to do the Fog versus Dead and Buried. We had somebody say Elm Street 2 versus Elm Street 4, which for a while was out in front. But what ultimately ended up being the winner was a combination of two suggestions, one from Labyrinth UFC Breakdown, smash the like button, and also Mr. Aiden Vavra. You guys came together with Tarantino versus Tarantino. However, both matchups were the movies that Quentin Tarantino had not directed, but he had written. And thus, we made it a triple threat, and it ended up winning the fan choice vote here tonight. So I'm very excited to get into all things versus format. We have a bunch of fun, colorful characters. Yeah, we do have colorful characters, but we also have colorful categories that I'm excited to get into here tonight. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We have Aiden Vavra in the house. Hello, everybody. Welcome, Mr. Vavra. Thank you for the topic. Ciao, Grande and friends. Miss C is here. Ciao. We got the Devious Diva. Hey, everyone. Hope all is well with you, Devious Diva. How are you, buddy? By the way, saw the marbles. It was good. Next up is the Iron Claw. I got 1.5K subs. Excellent, man. Congrats, Anthony Chobot. Hope all's well with you, buddy. As they said, and from dusk till dawn, everybody be cool. You be cool. I'm running the show. I'm running the fucking show, Slasher Fred. I'm running the show, as Harvey Keitel would say in that movie. Welcome, Slasher Fred. Hope all is well with you. So I can show you here. We have a bunch of fun, colorful categories here. We have, of course, the staple one sheet versus one sheet. We've got, of course, lead versus lead versus lead. We've got female lead versus female lead versus female lead. Director versus director versus director. Story versus story versus story. There you can see Mr. Tarantino in the middle there. We've got supporting cast versus supporting cast versus supporting cast. And then we've got some fun categories to kind of wrap things up here later on tonight in the show. So I'm very excited to get into this. This is going to be a really fun show. I'm happy that for a change, instead of me picking the versus episode, you guys decided to choose it. And I was like, you know what? I think this is a great idea. I think it's a great change in pace and something that maybe we'll cleanse the palate. I don't know. I know the last 2 weeks, I don't know, for whatever reason, when I wrapped the last two shows, I felt that maybe I hadn't done as good a job. And if I hadn't, I apologize for that. I'm going to try to do my best here tonight to be as fun and engaging and you know, as much like myself as usual. So hopefully this is an awesome show and we have a fun time tonight. This is so surreal. Thank you for everyone who voted for this topic. Yeah, no, it was, for a while, it was looking like Elm Street 2 and 4. That started really way ahead. And then just as the days went on, it just more and more and more got close. At one point, it was like a four-way tie. I was like, holy moly, this is getting really interesting. But it ended up QT versus QT versus QT, but no directing QQ, just fucking writing. Hey, what's up, Graveyard fam? The Mernsey Show. Mernsey's Movie Imagine has changed his YouTube name to the Mernsey Show. That is very exciting. I hope that means that maybe we're in store for some fun, creative content from Mernsey himself, one of my favorite people in the world. I always say it's Mernsey's world. We're just living in it. Welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. Tomorrow night, late, midnight, when the clock strikes midnight and the Black Friday sales kick off, the blue teak labels, whether it be Severn, whether it be Vincent, Mernsey and Gory Corey, yes, King Gore, will be joining me here only on the Graveyard as we do our little Blu-ray hunting for Black Friday. So that should be a lot of fun. I hope everybody could catch that show. It won't be terribly long, probably an hour or so. Nothing crazy, but we'll do some surfing and we'll see, you know, what's going on sale or what's not. How are you doing, buddy? By the way, Thanksgiving. Okay, I already read this, buddy. You can rewind it if you didn't hear what I said, but welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you. And I guess we can jump right underway, everybody. I know it's weird doing this on a Wednesday night. It feels so freaking off or weird. But I figured tomorrow's the holiday. Everyone's going to be with their family. So Grande's Graveyard on a Wednesday. God damn it. Everybody cheers. I already drank my Mountain Dew, so it's all about. I'm all out of dew. I'm just here to kick some ass. That's what we're here to do here tonight on Grande's Graveyard. Let's see. Black Friday server shut down. Well, yeah, the Severn always has the 502 bad gateway. I always say if Severn was a wrestler, their finisher would be the 502, which is so funny. It's truly fascinating to see all these filmmakers, awesome styles. mixed with Tarantino's phenomenal dialogue. Yeah, this was fun show prep. I watched these right in a row. I did Sunday, Monday, Tuesday show prep. And I mean, I had a great time with all three of these movies. I guess we could start off by saying I like all three of these movies quite a bit. So this wasn't necessarily easy for me. And we do have a topic later on the show where the fans are going to decide a category. Usually the versus format, if you're not familiar with it, is each category that I showed just before will give a movie a point. If your movie wins the category, it gets a point. And then the first one, there's 10 categories to a relative 4 points. You would be the winner, of course. So I'm very excited here tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. We got DMC Campbell back in the house. Hey, Grande, welcome, DMC. Hope all is well with you. Cheers, everybody, to a safe, happy, healthy Turkey Day. And let's jump into this right off the bat. We've got a fun one. One sheet versus one sheet versus one sheet. Yes, I love this category. I'm a sucker for one sheet theatrical posters, and you've got three here that kick some candy ass. Of course, first on the far left, you have True Romance, where you do have the fun classic tagline, stealing, cheating, killing. Who says romance is dead? I love that. And of course, some kind of pictures throughout the film. I think this is a unique one sheet. I like it. I think it easily could have just went with Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette as just the center and not all these other side characters. But it is a movie that we'll get into later that I think is great because of its cast. I think it has a wonderful supporting cast. And I mean, to put them pretty much almost all on this poster, I mean, everyone except like James Gandolfini is on this poster, who, rest in peace, James Gandolfini. I just absolutely love it. But yeah, no, that's definitely love True Romance's poster. Now, next up in the middle here, you have, of course, Natural Born Killers. The media made them superstars. You have Woody Harrelson with the awesome, like, stoner glasses on, the red stoner glasses, and then in the reflection, you have Miss Juliette Lewis, who I just love. I always adore Juliette Lewis, and I really like her as Mallory Knox in the movie. And it's I think this is an awesome poster. It's a badass poster. I like Woody Harrelson rocking the bald hair. I mean, the no hair, because of course he tries to shave it in jail before his big interview with Australian Robert Downey Jr., which I thought was quite fun. I like this look for Woody Harrelson. I think it's a really nice poster. And then finally, on the far right, you have From Dusk Till Dawn. One night is all that stands between them and freedom, but it's going to be one hell of a night. Yes, From Dusk Till Dawn. Of course, you have George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino actually on the poster. And then, of course, the titty twister bar with a bunch of bats flying away in the background. I just love all three of these one sheets. I think they're great. Now, if you're asking me which one is the most iconic, I think you've got to go Natural Born Killers. I think it's just, you see that, and you could even like take Natural Born Killers, the title, off of the poster, and I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 people would know it's the poster for Natural Born Killers. It's just so iconic. But at the same time, I kind of lean From Dusk Till Dawn here because it's just so badass. It's almost like an old school Western poster. Like, you have Clooney with the fucking gun with the smoke pouring out of it. Tarantino with the gun, like literally like a spy, like to his chest, like almost like the fucking, like, I like that. I don't know why I find that so funny, but I kind of do, almost like a James Bond spy. And I don't know, I like the background with the titty twister and the fucking bats and the dawn, the literal dawn. I think that's a really nice poster. So for me, right off the bat, from one sheet versus one sheet versus one sheet, we're giving the point From Dusk Till Dawn, baby. I love that poster. I think that's awesome. That's one I would love to add in the Grande Man Cave somewhere. I think it's an awesome poster. I don't know how expensive or rare or anything that poster would be. I would assume it's probably obtainable. I really don't know. But I like all three posters. To me, it would go Dawn, MBK, True Romance. And when I say MBK, Natural Born Killers, it's just, I don't know. I like that abbreviation. So let's see what we have next here. We have Jamie Hart, the current reigning, defending, undisputed horror tuber of the month. Oh, maybe not yet, but you can go vote for her to be horror tuber of the month. I believe she had a nomination. She did an awesome 4-hour live stream that I hopped on for a little bit. Jamie Hart, hope all is well. Sending hearts to you, my friend, and I hope you win. Just be my favorite exploding Grande self when somebody mentions Scream 5 and 6, and you're awesome. Well, I appreciate that. But the craziness is the Scream 5, 6, 7, whatever the fuck news is that, of course, old Crazy Eyes, Melissa Barrera got fucking fired. I could not believe it. Matt Canada and Melissa Barrera got fired in the same day. I was like, what? Who did I fucking please in this world to get that to happen? I mean, who did I fucking please? Because I would love to know. I was so happy. And then, of course, Jenna Ortega today announced that she won't be doing a Scream 7. So I hope they fucking cancel Scream 7 so no more horrible Scream cinema media can ruin the goddamn cinema and world. So I would love for that to happen. I won't comment on what was said, but I'm happy that those movies are possibly going to get canceled now. So very, very good. No Scream 7, I hope. From fingers are crossed. Labyrinth UFC breakdown. Smash the like button. Thank you for the topic. It was you and Aiden that kind of we put the topics together. You suggested, I think, I forget who suggested who, but we ended up putting them together like a triple threat because the last versus episode we did was a triple threat. It was Dracula versus Dracula versus Dracula. And here I said, why not do Tarantino, but none of them directed by Tarantino? I thought that was more fun. All stories by him, but none directed by him. Thought it was a good topic. Let's see. 3 epic posters. I'm picturing which one I'd have framed in my man cave. I'm going with True Romance. Okay, very nice. Alpha is here. The Alpha. Hey, Grande, stoked for this one. Alpha and me just did a very fun Romero remakes list where we discussed the 4 Romero remakes, of course, Night, Dawn, Day, and The Crazies, with my favorite cameo of all time from Lynn Lowry on a bicycle, which is very fun. Alpha, always fun working with you, my friend. Hope all is well with you. Welcome to the graveyard. I love all 3 of these one-sheet posters, but True Romance gets my vote. Okay, we got 2 True Romances and a Dusk Till Dawn. That from Dusk Till Dawn poster would definitely look okay if Franco Nero was in Clooney's spot. Oh my God, hell yeah, that would be amazing. Well, I know that it was originally supposed to be Joe Pilato, who, of course, the I'm running this monkey farm now, Frankenstein, and I want to know what the fuck you do with my time. The lead, one of the leads in Day of the Dead, the asshole, the Napoleon Complex, of course, Captain Rhodes. Just love Joe Pilato in that movie. And I know there's the original trailer was Joe Pilato playing the Clooney role. And that, like, in a parallel world, I would like to see what Joe Pilato did, but I think Clooney was the guy. I think Clooney really, really, really was the right guy to get, in my opinion. Hey, Jamie Mernsey, everyone's saying hi. Awesome. Natural Born Killer is iconic for me. I remember seeing it. Yeah, I think it's the most iconic for sure. If you're asking me, like, unbiasedly, it would be a Natural Born Killers. But this is, of course, this is my versus. So my opinion, I'm going to go from Dusk Till Dawn. But I would say, yeah, I would say if you polled the majority on which one of those 3 posters they like the best, I think the one in the middle would go over. But I would say from Dusk Till Dawn personally. Thanks, Ronnie. Anytime, my friend. Hope all's well. Love that MBK poster. I love all 3 of them. I think they're all 3 very, very nice posters. But for now, From Dusk Till Dawn gets the point, and it takes the early 1-0 lead in this 3-way dance scheduled for one fall. Yes, coming up next, though, we have lead versus lead versus lead. Yes, all 3 male leads in this movie. Of course, on top, you have Mr. Christian Slater, followed by, of course, Woody Harrelson, the crazed, demonic Woody Harrelson, who almost looks like Chop Top in this picture right here. I mean, music is my life. And I'll lick my plate, dog dick. I mean, he looks like Chop Top in this picture. I thought that was so funny. I was like, is this a scene from fucking Natural Born Killers or Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 from the late, great Tobe Hooper? I don't know. And then, of course, lastly but not leastly, you have legendary George Clooney as Seth Gecko in From Dusk Till Dawn. So this is tough because right off the bat, I mean, I really enjoy all 3 of these actors and general. Right. Like I enjoy Christian Slater. I know that he's gotten sort of a bad rap. I know he's made some unique career decisions. I mean, this is a guy that willingly worked with Uwe Boll. This is a guy that has maybe taken some films that are lesser of him. And of the 3 would probably be the easiest one to get. I mean, the one that I would say maybe at a time was on the A list, but his choices, I would say he needs to fire his fucking agent personally. I don't know what Christian Slater's agent has him doing. Like anybody that signs you up for a fucking Uwe Boll movie needs to be fucking fired. Alongside Melissa, alongside Matt Canada. That's the group of people that you fucking fire, let's be honest. I do like Christian Slater though, and I think he does a really good job in the lead role of True Romance because I see it personally. This is how I've always looked at the film. I look at Christian Slater as playing Quentin Tarantino. And I already see somebody mention that too. So yeah, exactly. Playing Quentin. So that's exactly how I feel about it too, because the movie opens where, you know, he's talking with this woman about kung fu movies and how he loves to go to the theater. And hey, do you want to go see she's like, you asking me to go see 2 kung fu movies with you? I'm asking you to go see 3 kung fu movies with me. I love that he's so innocent and sort of playful and fun and loving movies And I just really enjoy Christian Slater's innocence in the role. I think he does a really, really nice job. And he's very likable. And I know that he had a very different idea of what the character was going to be as opposed to Tony Scott. And I believe on the first day of the set and the first day of shooting, those two clashed. He was not liking Christian Slater's performance, and the two of them had to get together, sit down, and Tony Scott apparently set him straight and said, no, 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 you're going to do it like this. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means Christian Slater initially was going to be less likable as the lead. Like my guess is if they were on completely different ends of the spectrum, my only guess is that Christian Slater was maybe playing it like fucking David Caruso and Jade. I don't know. Like maybe he was trying to play it like, like a dick or like a, I'm better than this type of deal. And I don't think that would have worked at all. I think what he did really worked for the film. And I agree. He's basically playing Quentin Tarantino in the movie. There's no denying that. Let's see. Alpha says Woody Harrelson for me. Woody Harrelson for Jamie Hart. Woody's scene where he's telling the dirty Johnny joke to the guards is amazing. We're about to get into Woody. Because Woody Harrelson, again, is one of my favorite actors of all time. I mean, I think the guy is just so underrated. And people forget at this time, this was such a different role for Woody Harrelson. I would dare to say this is the role that made his career. Like he was doing more comedies at this time. I mean, this was around the time of White Man Can't Jump. This was 2 years before a movie like Kingpin, which I love. Always loved that movie from the Farrelly brothers. Love Kingpin with him and Randy Quaid. I think they did a great job in that movie. But I think this was such a different role for him, and it was very multi-layered because not only are you playing a psycho, not only are you playing somebody who's basically an unlikable antagonist, you also have to bring that charm there and that entertainment quality. And Woody brought that. Woody is entertaining, he's charming, he's evil, he's malicious, he's all of these things as Mickey Knox. I think he's a lot of fun in the role. And I love he and Juliette Lewis together. I think they're just tremendous together. Mickey and Mallory. They're so memorable. I love how they play off one another and how they are this almost like trashy couple on the surface, but they do deep down inside love each other, and their chemistry with one another is quite something else. But there are times when they're clashing heads, and Woody Harrelson and her are about to have sex, and he's looking at this woman that they have tied up on the floor, and why are you looking at her? Don't you be looking at her? And she's like, well, then we'll go fuck her then. He's like, I guess I will. And basically that happens, and she goes out and has sex with this fucking, guy at a gas station while he has sex with the lady they have captive. And then it's almost like nothing ever happened. Like they just kind of move on from it. I thought that was like, what the fuck? Like something else. Really good stuff. I particularly love the stuff in the prison with Woody Harrelson, like the sit down with Robert Downey Jr., where the two of them are talking, and he's like, where do I rank? Am I up there with Charlie? He's like, nobody. Charlie's the top. And he's like, you're not as good as Charlie. And then of course he's just like, Charlie is the king. Like I love how he delivers that line with like a fucking charm to it, where you kind of you're like, man, this guy is like okay with taking a backseat to the #1 mass murderer. He's like, all right, I will be Robin if he could be Batman. That's fine. I'll be Robin if he's Batman. Like Charlie Manson is the king. I thought that was so funny, like the way he delivered that line and just kind of smiled. There's just a charm to it. I thought he brought a nice charm to the role. I liked Woody Harrelson a lot. And lastly, you got George Clooney, who I fucking think this is his best role. I really, really do. Like, don't get me wrong. I like the, Ocean 11, Ocean 12, whatever the fuck. I like George Clooney in other movies, Up in the Air, whatever the fuck. This to me is hands down his best role. I love George Clooney in this movie. I think he's tremendous as Seth Gecko, and the intensity that he brings to the movie, where, I mean, some of the dialogue, it's just embedded in my brain when he's talking about the woman in the, that they've kidnapped, and he's sitting down, he sits her down. I got 3 rules. Rule number 1, you run, you ask questions, you meet Mr. Magnum 45. You make any noise, see rule number 1. And then rule number 3, don't you ever fucking run on us, because I got 6 little friends and they can all run faster than you can. And I love how Rodriguez shoots it with, like, after he says that line, it goes close up on Clooney's face. Like, I'm not fucking around here. Really enjoy that stuff. I love the stuff where they're in, the car, and Harvey Keitel, and he's trying to get up close and personal with him, and, try to make friends, and stuff in the titty twister where he's banging the glass, and Harvey, are you such a fucking loser that you don't know when you've won? And George, what the fuck did you say to me? I mean, I love that. I just thought that was great. And of course, like the finale with Cheech Marin, and Cheech Marin is like, what were they, psychos? And fucking George Clooney goes, psychos do not explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are. I love that line. I always thought that was like the best line of the movie. Just so great. I'm a bastard, Kate, but I'm not a fucking bastard. I just love George Clooney. I think George Clooney is so fun in this movie, and just it's a side of him you would not go on to see. Like the following year, he goes on to be Batman in Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin, and I think he's terrible as Batman. Arguably, other than Affleck, the worst. I would say it's him and Affleck are the worst Batman. And at the time, had I been alive, I was alive, I think, but like I was in diapers. I would have been stoked. Like if I saw this movie and then you told me, yeah, that guy's gonna go be Batman, I would have been the first motherfucker in line, because this is like, you see the intensity George Clooney brings. That's like, holy shit, I want to see him be Batman. Unfortunately, they just kind of dropped the ball on that, and they made that more kind of goofy. I don't know. It just, he didn't work as Batman at all. But I love him in this movie. I think he's tremendous. I like the relationship with he and Quentin Tarantino, his brother, who's not mentally there at all, but he does love his brother. He loves Richie, and what you are doing is not the fucking right way. I love Clooney in this. I think he's great. But let's hear what you guys think, and then we're gonna see what I think here. Let's see. I think we were right here. Clarence Worley for me. Okay, fair enough. Woody. Clarence Worley gets my vote. It also helps that he's a little bit of a relatable character for me. Well, I would hope that he's the most relatable character for everybody, because the other two are fucking murderers. Like, well, no, I mean, well, I shouldn't fucking rephrase that. But like, okay, a movie fan that's a hopeless romantic. I would hope that's more of us than fucking anybody being Mickey or anybody being Seth Gecko. So I would hope he's the most relatable for everybody. Natural Killer is such a great Bonnie and Clyde-like story. I agree with that. I think it's Bonnie and Clyde on LSD is basically what it is. George Clooney's badass in it. It is his best film. I would agree with that. I don't ever think I really like Clooney in anything. I actually think he's really good. I just wish he had done more roles like this. Like, I don't know. I'm not a George Clooney connoisseur. Like, I have not watched that many George Clooney movies in my life, but this is easily the best thing I think he ever did, like acting wise. I love him. Got Woody, LOL. Okay, Miss Carter goes Woody. To be fair, all three of these characters are fantastic, but Mickey Knox is ironically iconic. Okay, fair enough. Speaking of Batman, have you ever seen the original Ocean's 11 from? Oh, of course, yeah, and of course, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, of course, the people in the Rat Pack. That's an awesome movie. Would have rather seen Pilato. I mean, of course. Alfa Romero, of course, would have rather seen. And in an alternate world, I would have rather seen Pilato. Like, I always know that the initial choice for no matter what Quentin Tarantino tells you now, because he's a liar, the fucking initial choice for Stuntman Mike in Death Proof was Stallone. Like, could you fucking imagine? I would sell my car to see that movie. I really would. Like, could you imagine? Hey, yo, you want to take a ride in my car? It goes really fast. It's 100% Death Proof. I would fucking love that shit. I mean, could you imagine fucking Sylvester Stallone walking around with a fucking icy hot jacket? Apparently what happened in the story is that they fucking sent the script to Stallone and his agent, and they sat down together and we're like, hey, yo, Quentin Tarantino got made Pulp Fiction and Reservoir Dogs and Kill Bill and Jackie Brown. Send me his fucking script. And they fucking sat down, and apparently he was like, what? This guy's going to murder people with his car? Like, he didn't get it. Stallone was like, what the fuck? This is terrible. Like, I don't want to be in this. And then they wanted Mickey Rourke. And then they went for fucking, I don't know. Then they went for Kurt Russell, who I thought was fucking great. I thought Kurt Russell nailed Death Proof. So I would, in a rather, alternate world, would have loved to see Pilato play that Seth Gecko part that Clooney plays here. But I think Clooney nailed it. Stallone, yes, that's right. Stallone was the first fucking choice. A lot of people realize that, but yeah, he was. That Stallone impression. Hell, Aiden, thank you. Yeah. Uncle Bill is here. That's a solid Sly impression. UB, welcome, my friend. Hope all is well with you, man. Natural Born Killer is definitely my pick, and Stone's vision of American reality TV and culture in general is brilliant. Well, yeah, Oliver Stone just did a great job with the movie. We'll get there when we get to the director's category. But as far as my pick for lead versus lead versus lead. This is all, of course, male versus male. Oops, I almost skipped here. Male versus male versus male. I'm sorry, but second straight point goes from Dusk Till Dawn. I love George Clooney in the movie. I think it would be, again, the same order. I'll go George Clooney, then Woody, then Christian Slater. I like all three characters, but I'm going to go from Dusk Till Dawn in this one. So from Dusk Till Dawn out to a 2-0 lead, baby. Can anything knock it off right now? Can anything set this apart as we go to our next category here? Female lead versus female lead versus female lead, as we have Miss Patricia Arquette facing Juliette Lewis. And get this, versus Juliette Lewis. Funny enough, Juliette Lewis is in fucking 2 of these 3 movies as the female lead, even though she doesn't have too much to do in From Dusk Till Dawn. Spoiler alert, From Dusk Till Dawn will not win a 3rd category here. It's just pretty obvious. She really doesn't have much to do in the movie. But let's start at the top. Let's start with Patricia Arquette, who, of course, all fucking, horror fans, of course, will first and foremost remember her from Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors and how likable she was in that movie. And I think was a really vital piece to why that movie, spawned the positivity and people going to see Elm Street 4. Like, I think she was a big vital piece to that. And I love her. I think she's great. I wish she had come back as the same character in, the Dream Master, but it wasn't meant to be, I guess. And I really like her in anything. I always loved her in the movie Holes, where she plays Kissing Kate Barlow. I love her in fucking, I didn't like the movie, but I liked her was Boyhood. I thought she was great in Boyhood. She's good. She's really versatile. Like, I have to say, of the Arquettes, she's the best actor of any of the Arquettes. Like, I definitely think she is above and beyond the best actor of all of them. And she's quite likable as this character who, meets Christian Slater by accident at the movie theater, and they kind of bond over their love for movies, and they have sex, and then she's kind of sad the next morning, and why are you crying? Did I do something? And, she's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm a call girl, and I fucking, I was hired to do this. I didn't just run into you. I'm really sorry. And he's like, okay, whatever. But I love the next scene where she kind of admits that she fell in love with him over that night. Like, she's just like, I can't believe I was all set up to do this, but I fucking love you. Like, I really love you. And I love that scene between the two of them. I think it's just so powerful. And I like when he goes, oh, we have everything in common. You like this, that, you like the Partridge Family. And then she starts laughing. She's like, I don't really like the Partridge Family. I was like, yo, that is hysterical. I think she's great in it. And of course, the legendary fight scene between her and Tony, this is Tony Soprano. When she fights fucking Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini, again, may you rest in peace. I love that bat. You got a lot of heart. And he's like, say the name. Where is he? And she spits in his face or flips him off. I love that. I think she's great in the movie. But, oh man, boy, do I love Mallory. I love me some fucking Mallory fucking Knox in Natural Born Killers. And I think this has got to be up there with Juliette Lewis's best roles. It's definitely the most remembered. Like, of course, she was in the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation before this as Audrey. She, was in a ton of movies at this time. It's funny, 2 years later, she's in From Dusk Till Dawn playing, like, the preacher's daughter. And in this movie, she's playing anything but. And I think the character is so much layer to it. Like, this is a character that was abused sexually by her father, played by Rodney Dangerfield, where you're like, what the fuck? And apparently Rodney Dangerfield didn't even know what was going on. Like, he didn't even know what the movie was really going for, yet Oliver Stone loved the performance. Of course, Edie McClurg is the mom, and you see this person who was sexually abused, who was just not accepted by her family, who was an outcast that fell in love with this other outcast. And then, of course, they go across the country doing drugs, killing people, and becoming almost cult icon killers. And I think she's just great. I love her performance. I think she just brings such a great intensity to the role. And again, a lot of charm and a lot of fun, but also I think that tragic side. I think there's a lot of tragedy to Juliette Lewis's character in this movie. So I quite like her in this. I think she's just fantastic. And of course, From Dusk Till Dawn, there's not much for her to do. She's kind of just the preacher's daughter and ends up surviving the movie, fun enough. So, there is that. But the scene I remember most from Dusk Till Dawn with her is when Quentin Tarantino imagines her saying, excuse me, Richie, can you eat my fucking pussy right now? And he's like, sure, I could do that for you. I love that scene. That's an instant, like, whoa, like, that's fucking out of nowhere. It just becomes really like, you kind of lean forward. You're like, oh God, I would say though, slam dunk for Juliette Lewis as Mallory, but what do you guys say? Let's see. what the comments say. I'm going here. Let's see. Oh shit, where the fuck were we? Think we were here. Patricia Arquette was amazing in Lost Highway as well. That's right. We talked about that on the David Lynch episode. I forgot to mention that. She's fantastic in that too. Hey, good evening, everyone. Sean Blue is here. Sean Blue, welcome, my friend. Sean Blue did an awesome stream watching Shocker the other night with, of course, Agoraphobe and Juno. It was a lot of fun. I stayed for like an hour. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, she's out of her mind. You'd be one of my favorite roles. Oh, did I miss a comment? Okay, I'm sorry. I missed Uncle Bill's. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, I missed a bunch of comments. I'm sorry. Juliet and MBK. Okay, Alabama Worley. All right. That fight scene with her and Gandolfini is awesome. Totally agree. Arquette is good, but Lewis is great. Natural Born Killers. I actually, that's exactly my take on it too. Arquette by far. I've always thought Juliette Lewis seemed slow or something. Really? That's fucking interesting. I don't know. I don't know about that. You think you just don't like her as an actress, or just in this particular role you felt she seemed slow? I'm curious. Yeah, she's out of her mind. You'd be my favorite role of hers. Okay. Oh yeah, Alabama. Agree, Jamie. Her fighting Tony Soprano is incredible. She crushed that character. Yeah, she was great as the character. I agree. What's up, Sean? Falcon Adam, Grande, my boy. What's up, brother? What's up, Dirk? Mama King Gore's here, buddy. We'll be live tomorrow night, chilling all things with the blue tea sales and all that shit. Patricia Arquette gets my vote. She was amazing as Alabama. Okay, the other sister was her best role, perfect casting. Okay, fair enough. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Speaking of Patricia Arquette, if you ever watch that show Medium, her character is also someone who has dreams, but instead she's a psychic. That was not a bad show. I remember when that was on. That was not a bad show at all. Yeah, it's played like a sitcom, makes it extra cringy. I agree. And that, I don't know if that's like the one thing of his direction that doesn't work for me is the 50s sitcom stuff. But Mallory Knox rules and Juliette Lewis killed it. But I love Alabama so much, I've got to give it to Arquette. All right, so definitely seems like a lot of Arquette or Lewis. And nobody's saying Lewis and From Dusk Till Dawn because it's just really not much of a character. Finally picked up Natural Born Killers 4K, but still haven't watched it. That movie on 4K would look amazing, I would think. Like all the fucking colors and shit. Like we're gonna get into director versus director next. Definitely Mallory. I'm going Mallory too. Spooky. MBK is one I've not seen. Highly recommend. I think it's worth a watch. Gandolfini versus Arquette, my favorite fight scene in film history, period. Hell yeah. Hey, Sean Blue. Her line delivery just always felt off to me. Okay, fair enough. Hey, man, that's totally a fair take. Hey, hello, Miss Carter. Hope you have a good Thanksgiving tomorrow. Of course, everybody. I hope everyone has a nice Thanksgiving. But let's move on into our next topic as Natural Born Killers gets on the board here. It's 2-1-0 as we move on to director versus director versus director. As we have, of course, the legendary, the late, great Tony Scott. May he rest in pepperonis. We have, of course, Oliver Stone. And then we have, of course, Robert Rodriguez, who was there with, of course, Danny Trejo and Cheech Marin and all these fun, colorful people. This is arguably the most interesting topic on this whole thing because you have three really quality filmmakers. I mean, look at the list of movies that these guys have done. I mean, Born on the 4th of July, JFK, The Doors, fucking Platoon, fucking, the fucking Beverly Hills Cop 2 is one of the movies. It's just so many great movies. And Robert Rodriguez has done, Sin City and Planet Terror. And, this was around the time that Desperado had just come out. And El Mariachi, one of his first projects. I mean, so many great movies, no matter which director that you spotlight here. But, starting it off with of course, the late, great Tony Scott. I really like Tony Scott's direction in True Romance. And I think that this is an interesting direction because, okay, while most people know Quentin Tarantino did not like Natural Born Killers, he did quite like True Romance. He liked what they did with it. And then, of course, he does like From Dusk Till Dawn because he ends up acting in it, writing it. He was a big, big part of that film. This, though, was still around the time where Quentin Tarantino didn't have as much creative control. And, he loved working with Tony Scott, and he felt that anything Tony Scott changed, he would always have a great reason behind it. And I think that was fucking really, really good. Like, I really like Tony Scott's direction here. And I know that the two of them actually came to a head about the ending. And what do I mean by that? The ending, initially, Patricia Arquette's character was going to die at the end of True Romance. That was the script that Tarantino had written, and, Tony Scott wanted it changed. And Tarantino apparently stormed into Tony Scott, wherever they were, and said, Tony, you can't do this. And Tony Scott was like, what are you talking about? He's like, you can't give in to the studio. You can't give in to the fucking politics or whatever the fuck, whatever reason you're doing this. He's like, this lady has to die. And they had this whole thing where Tarantino was just like so passionately arguing with him. He was like, "You're the man that made revenge. I love revenge. You have the stones. You have the balls. You can't fucking do this. You can't have this end happy." And Oliver Stone argued and said they have to live happily ever after. They have to have a baby and just be walking on the beach at the end. That's what I want to do. He's like, it's not any studio. It's not pressure. It's not what the studio thinks or what anyone else thinks. He says, it's what I think. And they had that argument, of course, writer and director. And I could only imagine, like, I couldn't imagine being in that argument there where a writer passionately believes in one thing, a director passionately believes in the other. And I do think, for what it's worth, that Tony Scott was right. I think it was better to have a happy ending for True Romance. And I think he does a really good job getting all the best performances out of his actors. I mean, I just love almost everyone's performance. I love how he directs Gary Oldman to play the white guy who thinks he's black, and he's also a gangster and he's a killer and all these things. I think he directs the actors so well. So I just love Tony Scott a lot. However, on the other side of the coin, you have Oliver Stone, who, to me, of these three, you have to say this is the most creative direction. Like, they made the movie feel like it was on LSD itself. Like I always say, Natural Born Killers, when you watch it, you'll see so much creativity when it comes to directing. I mean, all the uses of filters, like they use this green filter that I have up here, that green filter during some of the murder sequences. They use red when Robert Downey Jr. gets like kind of excited in the interview to show his anger. They use all these interesting black and white shots and like highs and lows. I loved how he directed the opening scene in the diner, when they fucking clean house in the diner. They kill the fucking manager from Major League, and what's her name? Mallory. Oh, I call her Pussy. Like the fucking guy's being horrible and misogynistic, whatever the hell. And they just clean house. I love how that's directed. Like, you have the scene where the bullet goes here and you see it like kind of revving up, and boom. I thought that was absolutely fantastic. It just really was so creative. I love how he directed this movie. I think it was just so like, wow. And for me, that the standout scene is when they go to visit the Indian man and his son, and they go in the tent and they're fucking tripping. And he tells the story of the snake. Like, a woman picked up the snake and she nursed it back to health for a month. That classic story of you nursing the snake back to health, and then the snake bit her after a month. And as she laid there dying, why did you do this to me? You knew I was a snake when you picked me up. And that's basically, that whole story foreshadows what happens to the two Indian men. They picked up some snakes. They took care of them and end up getting bitten themselves, figuratively, by, of course, Mickey and Mallory, who kill them and then get bitten by snakes themselves. Fantastic. I just think this is like one of the best directed movies that Oliver Stone did. And that's not saying, that's not any small feat. This guy directed quite a few great movies. I mean, I love Platoon. Platoon's great. I really like JFK. I really like The Doors, even though like there are issues I have with it story-wise. The direction is fantastic. I love the direction. I really do. Anything but the 50s sitcom stuff, I think the direction is just top-notch here. And all the stuff in the prison, how that's done, just tremendous. I love it. And then finally, Robert Rodriguez in From Dusk Till Dawn, who I think did a hell of a job too. I mean, this is a guy that really worked on a lot of shoestring budgets, like El Mariachi was made for fucking $5 and a handshake, and fucking, Desperado was made for a little bit more. This was a guy that was really growing into the business and would go on to make blockbusters. I mean, I know he was behind the Spy Kids movies, which, whether you love them or hate them, it was a franchise that made a lot of money. Let's be honest. This is a guy that came from nothing and made himself into everything. All of a sudden, he's directing a movie with fucking George Clooney in it, and all these great, wonderful character actors, and Cheech Marin and all these great people. I love his direction too. I think he did a great job. Like that opening, the intensity of that opening when they kill John Hawkes in that little convenience store. I thought that was great. I love the intensity of that. Like Tarantino's like, he's signaling, he's telling him to help him. He's like, I didn't say shit. He's like, God damn it, I deserve an Academy Award for the acting I'm doing. I love John Hawkes and how upset he's getting. I like the way that they show that the woman's kind of trapped in the trunk, and some of the B highlights and how it's all done. I like when you get to the titty twister, how fucking grand it feels. It makes you feel like when they first introduce it, I want to go to that fucking bar, naked fucking vampire fucking ladies dancing and the band. And Danny Trejo with the bar. I love it. I think he just did such a fun job directing it, making it feel like intense crime thriller, and then immediately changing on a dime after about an hour into the movie, it becomes this fun B vampire survival movie. I think he did a great job playing with those styles. But let's get to the chat. Let's see what you guys have to say. I want to hear it. Let me make sure I don't skip anybody's fucking comments again. I think we were here. This is a toss-up. Okay, very, very interesting. Let's see. Oliver Stone by far. Hello, Grande never makes it easy. Well, these are fun. I like these shows. Super hard choice. All these movies are amazing. I agree. Sir Uncle Bill says, Sir William, there's no doubt in my mind that this would go to Stone. I mean, no one did shit like that at this time. So many crazy cutaway scenes and cinematography. I don't even like Natural Born Killers that much, but it's clear. Okay, I guess you got cut off, but I'll read the rest of it when I get to it. Speaking of JFK, this marks the 60th anniversary of the infamous assassination of our country's founding president. That's right. Tony Scott, easily, he might be my favorite filmmaker, period. Domino, True Romance are two of my favorite films ever. I really loved his style, and his films were very energetic. Another vote for Tony Scott. Exactly. It's the creativity behind the scenes, like the different sequences seem like different worlds. Yeah, no, he really did. He makes this movie, like I always say, it's the cameras on LSD when you watch Natural Born Killers. It's jump cutty and sporadic in all the right ways. I love the scene where Rodney Dangerfield is watching a Tatanka match. That's right. Kill him, fucking Indian. I am going with Stone. I love all his movies. Dangerfield is amazing. And I think it's so funny that he didn't know what he was supposed to do. MBK feels like a different director in almost every scene. That's true. And you know what, guys? I'm right there with you. I think it's a slam dunk for Stone. I love all three of them. I think all three of them brought such a great, energy and direction to all of their respective films. But to me, if you're studying to be a director, if you want to be creative, if you want to do something outside the box, I think you've got to watch what Natural Born Killers director, of course, Oliver Stone did here with this movie, because it may not be his best movie. I don't think it is his best movie, but I think it's his best direction. I really do, because I just think he just really gave it his all. I really enjoy how he directed the movie. I think it's just really stylish and interesting from top to bottom. So I'm going to go with Oliver Stone. Going to go with Tony Scott. Okay, so a lot of Tony Scott. I don't think anybody went Robert Rodriguez. So nobody went double R's here. Very interesting. Let's move on, though, as we are tied at 2-2-0. Can, of course, True Romance get on the board, as now it is our fifth category, story versus story versus story. And we only have to look for one man. Yes, Quentin Tarantino, who wrote the screenplay for two of these movies, and then, of course, had a lot of it changed, much to his dismay, with Natural Born Killers. They would keep the dialogue, I believe, with Natural Born Killers, but the context was always changed. So, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I enjoy all these stories. We could do brief plot synopses on all of them. That's a Grande's Graveyard Soap. True Romance. In Detroit, a pop culture nerd steals cocaine from his wife's pimp and tries to sell it in Hollywood, prompting the mobsters who own the drugs to pursue the couple. Of course, Natural Born Killers. Two victims of traumatized childhoods become lovers and psychopathic serial murderers, irresponsibly glorified by mass media. And finally, from Dusk Till Dawn, two criminals and their hostages unknowingly seek temporary refuge in a truck stop populated by vampires with chaotic results. Awesome, awesome stories. And you have one of the great writers in my lifetime that we've ever seen in Quentin Tarantino. And these three movies aside, look at Pulp Fiction, look at Reservoir Dogs, look at Kill Bill Volume 2, look at, Inglourious Basterds, Django Unchained. You throw a rock and you will hit a great written movie by Quentin Tarantino. The guy is arguably the best writer of our time. He always seems to make dialogue feel natural. He's always very engaging, always very entertaining, and I think is just one of the great writers of all time. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Natural Born Killers, he hated. He disliked it. He felt that they ruined his vision. And I believe to the point where he never even watched the whole movie. I think he only got an hour in and turned it off. So that's how upset he was. He was so fucking upset that they would do that to his vision. And, they never creatively consulted with him. He was very upset with the film, and I don't think he liked Oliver Stone's direction. He just felt it was all off, missed the point, and what have you. So, I mean, that is what it is. I do think the dialogue in the movie is good for what it's worth. I think what they changed and to have, some of the dialogue meet the context of the movie works. I really do. I think a lot of the stuff is memorable. But I would say here that National Born Killers of these three definitely is the biggest mess from a story standpoint, because it is almost like a few different films in one. It's like, okay, it starts off, we're in this, you get this shootout in a diner. Then we are in this weird 50s sitcom thing, but it's all like this dark, dark, dark humor where it's like, oh yeah, she was fucking violated by her father, played by Rodney Dangerfield. Like, what? Then you're in the desert, then you're in a fucking convenience store, then you're in a jail. Like, it jumps all over the fucking place to the point where the story, it's just, to me, it's a mess. It's kind of a mess. But it works for the direction because it's visually interesting, but the story that they're trying to tell, I think, gets a little bit jumbled. And I know that this was Oliver Stone's big statement on, how the media kind of glorifies killers like this, how we glorified Charlie, how we glorified, lately it's Dahmer, because look at the Netflix thing. Everyone, oh, I love Jeffrey Dahmer. All the fucking, I'm going to work, all these female, oh, I would fuck Jeffrey Dahmer. I was like, he don't want to fuck you though. So what the fuck, like, Jesus Christ, I don't understand. But how media glorifies serial killers and all these things. I get what he was going for, and I think that in the direction it works. But the story wise, I think it's easily the weak link of the three. And that definitely shows because they changed his screenplay. They changed his story around. And I think when you have Quentin Tarantino as the writer, you don't change shit like that. So that's just me. Definitely would say Natural Born Killers is not getting this one. So then, of course, you have between two, True Romance and From Dusk Till Dawn. From Dusk Till Dawn is very fun. And like I said, it starts off like a crime thriller. And it almost feels like the movie just completely becomes a different movie by the end. Like, it's just like, okay, we just got to get to Mexico. We just got to get to the fucking, Cheech Marin and give him the fucking whatever. And we get X amount of percent. We're home free. We're running from the law. And then, of course, it becomes this fun vampire movie, and it almost becomes like a Grindhouse movie at the end, where I'm like, holy shit. Like, I remember when I first watched it, it was me and my dad. And we were sitting here watching it, and we're like, man, this is really good. And then out of nowhere, fucking Salma Hayek does this amazing fucking dance, and then everybody becomes vampires. And we were like, what the fuck? Like, we were shocked, but I enjoyed it. He did not. He was like, what the fuck? Like, this is a bunch of nonsense. Like, I think it turned him. He didn't like the change. He was like, you had me X, Y, and Z, and then you went back to fucking D? Like, very odd. I think it was very odd choice for him, but I personally love it. I think that is what makes it work. But to me, I think the clear winner here has got to be True Romance. I think the story of True Romance of these three is clearly the winner. I mean, I love this story. I love the heart of the story mostly. I think they're just so fantastic together, the two leads. And I like the way that the story kind of plays out. They're cross country. I like some of the stuff with Michael Rappaport. We're on the phone with him. And, I love the Brad Pitt character, who was the whole inspiration behind what James Franco would go on to do with Pineapple Express. And of course, Dennis Hopper is the dad. Dad, I've never asked you for anything. God damn it. I love the entire cast and story. I just think it just plays out so smoothly. I think it's just really the one that's the most focused, and the story that I think stays the most straight. It's the most, like, I don't want to say linear, but it's the most smooth. Whereas National Born Killers is kind of a mess. This is the most smooth. And then From Dusk Till Dawn, it almost feels like two acts. It's like the crime movie, then the horror movie in the fucking bar, which I love all of that stuff. But I think for what it's worth, True Romance is the most focused, and I think it's got to win the Best Story Award here. So that's my pick. But let's see what you guys say. Let's see. True Romance easily. I agree with that. True Romance for me, I agree. Natural Born Killers because of what it's saying about America. Okay, so Dirk totally felt that message and totally felt that Tony Scott did a good job delivering it. Now, like I was saying, visually, I think it's easily the best of the three. But when you're telling a story, I think, verbiage is it's the most important part of telling a story is your verbiage. And I think the verbiage in True Romance is just so spot on. So I got to say True Romance. Okay, another Natural Born Killers for Labyrinth. Very tough. The horror lover in me loves the From Dusk Till Dawn twist, but True Romance is an MBK taking on such a journey. Tough one. I agree. I think it is a tough one, but I would say True Romance for me. I think is the most focused. Oh, I don't know. What did I say? Is it the Dahmer stuff? Jonathan Schwartz is here. What's up, Jonathan? I wish I could be a fly on the wall when you tell your coworker. But it's the truth. She was like, oh my God, the actor they picked. And she was like, oh, I want to watch the Jeremy Renner one now. Because Jeremy Renner played Dahmer, that's a fucking good movie that nobody talks about, is the Jeremy Renner movie where he plays Dahmer. You want to feel uncomfortable? Watch that movie. That movie is like fucking really intense and uncomfortable. I don't know why nobody talks about that movie. But yeah, no, I remember she's like, oh my God, I want to fuck the actor. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, Jeffrey Dahmer would not want to fuck you. Like, what the fuck? Like, goddamn, it pissed me off. I was like, what is this lady talking about? Let's go to the next comment though. I love True Romance, fantastic love story, but I have to give it from Dusk Till Dawn. The vampire twist in the middle of the movie was so awesome. Okay, fair enough. That's above from Dusk Till Dawn. Hey, Grande, kicking ass with Tarantino tonight. Hell yeah, Gizmo. Hope all's well with you, buddy. Let's see. The true story of Charles and Carol Ann inspired Stephen King to explore horror. That's right. What's happening? Gizmo, chilling, having a coffee, scratching my hairy parts. How about you? Well, that sounds like a beautiful Wednesday night. One reason I love True Romance so much is it's a film about a character trying to find its happy ending. It's honest, and he gets his happy ending, which was Tony Scott's idea. I don't know if I'd like True Romance as much as if Patricia Arquette just died at the end in the kind of shootout. Like I don't think it would work the same. The scene between Hopper and Walken is of course, and the Sicilian, like the stuff they're saying about Sicilian people. Like I don't want to go into the whole fucking thing because I'll like say the whole scene, and you guys have seen it, so I mean, it is what it is. But I know Tarantino said that's like one of the most proud things he ever was. Like he heard it in real life and like remembered it and inserted it in this screenplay right here. And man, those two guys, those two actors. I mean, you got Hopper and Walken. They just knocked it out of the park. I just love their verbiage between one another. They had really, really great chemistry, those two. Tony Scott saved the film. Really? So would you say that Quentin Tarantino, let's say, okay, in an alternate universe, let's say Reservoir Dogs comes out in 92, which actually in the real universe, that's what happened. This comes out in 93. Let's say he pushed Pulp Fiction in 95 and directs this in 93 instead. Would you feel that Quentin Tarantino, with his particular ending that he wanted, would that have been a better film than Tony Scott's film? Or do you think Tony Scott really did save this film? Do you think his version is the best version? Because I know Quentin Tarantino has said Tony Scott's ending works for Tony Scott's movie. So which means Quentin Tarantino does not approve the ending. I would have to disagree, though. I really would. I don't know. I don't know what about the question I just asked you. To me, that's really hard. You're picking basically which guy would have directed the dialogue better or the story better. I think Tony Scott did great, but it's an interesting question. Totally forgot about that scene. You're right. That scene's fantastic. Oh, it's great. It's, to me, True Romance gets this one, and it is on the board, ladies and gentlemen. 2-2-1 as we move on to supporting cast versus supporting cast versus supporting cast. Of course, you have the Australian Robert Downey Jr. on the top there playing this fun over-the-top reporter in NBK. You have the legendary Gary Oldman playing this really fun, white gangster guy who's a lot of fun in the movie. And then, of course, you have Salma Hayek, muy caliente. Oy, Salma Hayek. Oh, my God, one of the most beautiful women of God's green earth and looking so beautiful. I mean, this is the movie that everybody remembers Salma Hayek from. I mean, you say Salma Hayek from Dusk Till Dawn? I mean, it's just so, it's peanut butter and jelly. It just fucking goes together, man. It's just so... That's what people remember her for. But this to me is really interesting category because all three of these movies have like amazing casts, like from top to bottom. I mean, we could run through Natural Born Killers cast. I mean, of course, at the top you have Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis, but on the side you have Robert Downey Jr., you have Tom Sizemore, whose character, I never got Tom Sizemore's character in the movie, like, but I never really got it. Another character, like, I like the actor, but I didn't care for his performance, was Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones plays like the over-the-top, cartoonish, warden in the jail, and he's like really hamming it up, like even more so than he would ham it up the following year in Batman Forever as Harvey Dent, Two-Face. I thought he was so hammed up to this point where you're like, what the fuck, man? What were you on, Tommy Lee? It's just bizarre. And then also, like, this was the same year The Cobb had come out. The Cobb was supposed to be like an Oscar nom movie for him where he played Ty Cobb, the baseball player. It was supposed to be this big deal. Ended up getting a limited release because there was a little movie at the time called Dumb and Dumber that stomped the immortal fuck out of the box office, and he hated Jim Carrey forever for that. And the following year, they ended up being in a Batman movie playing the fucking villains, and he could not sanction his buffoonery. If you don't believe me, look that up. Look the whole feud that Tommy Lee Jones hated Jim Carrey's ass. I always thought that was so funny because I watch a movie like this, I'm like, dude, you fucking might as well have gotten Jim Carrey to play the cartoon over-the-top warden that Tommy Lee Jones plays. I thought it was just a weird performance. If there's anybody in the movie that feels off, it's Tommy Lee Jones for me. I just don't really like his performance. But moving on to, of course, True Romance, it's got to be one of the greatest casts of all time. Like, I'm talking all time. Like, not only do you have Gary Oldman, who is the only person I picked in the photo, but like, look at Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer is fucking Elvis. You have Brad Pitt, you have fucking Christopher Walken, Bronson Pinchot, Sam Jackson, Michael Rappaport, fucking Jimmy Gandolfini, Chris Penn, Tom Sizemore. How the fuck many great actors can you get in one movie? Look no further than True Romance. I mean, that's one of the best supporting casts you could ever. You could argue that any of them could have been the leads. Like, okay, yeah, Brad Pitt could have played the lead, sure. Fucking, Jamie Gandolfini could have played the lead. Fucking Gary Oldman could have played the lead. You had so many great actors and actresses in this movie. It's just such a fucking mind blow. It's like, how the hell did, like, you would think the budget for this movie was like fucking $200 million, when in reality it was $13 million. Like, how do you get that much talent in a movie for $13 million? It is just insane. Like, that is whoever casted that movie, man, that is the casting director you want in your life. That is really the case. And then From Dusk Till Dawn, I mean, I love all the side actors. You have Harvey Keitel playing the fucking pastor. Are you running the show, Dad? It looks like he's running the show. I'm on the show. I'm on the fucking show. And the breaks weren't good. She got to stop sudden. She died. I love and the fucking are you such a fucking loser that you cannot tell when you've won? And the scene where Clooney's about to get into the fucking fight and he kind of talks it all down and stuff. And you two must promise me and give me your word that you will kill me if I turn to one of them. I love that. I think that's great. Of course, Juliette Lewis, I think does a fun job. She's not, that prominent in the movie, but you also have like Fred Williams, who is a lot of fun. He's doing the kung fu, ripping your heart out and staking you in the heart. You have Tom Savini as Sex Machine, who I know in real life I've heard nothing but bad. Really, I've heard he's just the most miserable person to beat. And I had the chance when I was at Living Dead Weekend with fucking with Alpha. I had the chance to meet him, and I was like, no. And then apparently Alpha's telling me, he's like, yeah, no, fucking a lot of people was just like came up to me and were like so disappointed with Savini. I'm like, dude, yes, say no more. I don't need to be disappointed by anybody. I had such a fun weekend. Don't need to be disappointed. But, Tom Savini as Sex Machine is fun in the movie. You have Cheech Marin, like I was saying. You have John Hawkes in the beginning in the fucking little convenience store. I thought he was fun. You do have Michael Parks. I always forget Michael Parks is the sheriff. He's the first thing you see in From Dusk Till Dawn. He's the first motherfucker you see is Michael Parks. I was like, oh, shit, rest in peps, man. I always forget Michael Parks is at the beginning of this. Top to bottom, a great cast. It really, really is. But to me, there's no doubt in my mind it's True Romance. Like, True Romance is cast. That's the best, arguably the best supporting cast in any movie ever. So for me, it's True Romance. I think it's a slam dunk. But let's see what y'all have to say. Let's see where the graveyard lies. Let's see. I think we were. The hell were we? Once again, True Romance for me, one of the greatest casts in the 90s. I agree. I think that's a total slam dunk. I agree with you. Salma Hayek, hottest scene ever in any movie. I got to ask this. Have you seen the From Dusk Till Dawn show where they have Isa Gonzalez, who she basically takes over the Salma Hayek role? Holy shit. I think she's as hot, if not hotter. Like, I really think that lady is like one of the hottest women of all time. Is Isa Gonzalez. Like, look, like if you've not seen, she does like the same dance, has a very different body. Granted, nobody has Salma Hayek's body. Let's be fucking honest here. I mean, Salma Hayek was, oh my God, type of hot. But Isa Gonzalez gives her a run for her money, in my humble opinion. Like, I don't know what it is, man. That is a beautiful woman. I'm curious to hear if you think she gives her any kind of a run for her money, or if just Salma is the pin. I know in the office a few days ago, we had the whole conversation, that battle of like people said Penelope Cruz or Salma Hayek. That was a big argument, like at the end of the day. And I was like, I personally said Penelope Cruz. I think Penelope Cruz is just hotter. But they were all like, you were a fucking nut. They were like Salma Hayek. And then they brought Jennifer Aniston into it, which I was like, I don't give a shit about Jennifer Aniston. Never did. I really think Tony Scott changed the ending for the better. If they went with QT's original ending, I really would not like it. I'm glad Tony Scott changed the ending. I'm on the same boat. I agree with that. That's a tough one, but I got to go Hayek. I'd say she's the most memorable, if I'm being honest. Okay. Oh, yeah, it's true. Jim Carrey talked about on the Norm Macdonald show. Yeah, no, that is a crazy, because I love that movie. Like, I absolutely love Batman Forever. It's my favorite Batman movie. So, like, to hear that, my dream commentary, would beat Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey talking about that movie, because I know that fucking Tommy Lee Jones hated Jim Carrey, and it was all over that. It was all over because Cobb came out and bombed because of Dumb and Dumber. Like, it didn't get the wide distribution because Dumb and Dumber was like just kicking ass and taking names at the time. So I mean, it is what it is. Let's go back to here. True Romance is racist, blackface, and all that stuff. It made me cry. Okay. It ain't White Boy Day, is it? Oh, shit. Well, entire cast, that changes it. I thought it was just saying out of those 3 photos. I have to say True Romance. Okay, so yeah, no, I said here, I cut off the writing. It's just supporting cast versus supporting cast versus supporting cast. You can see it there. I like to spotlight the pictures because, I don't know, just I'm kind of that way. I have no idea. True Romance for the win. Yes, I agree. Agree. Romance. Oh yeah, True Romance all the way. True Romance is just that undeniable. From Dusk Till Dawn is sexiest. All the girls are nude. It makes me sick. Nude girls makes you sick too? What? All right. So we will move on to our next category here, which is the very first time ever it will happen on the show. I have these 4 categories to wrap out the night. And we're doing fan episode, fan vote, which means we open the floor to you. Right now, it is 2 to 2 to 2. How many 2s are in there? Say that 10 times fast. 2 to 2 to 2. Right now, you, the viewer, will break the tie. I want to know from the Grande's Graveyard chat right here, right now, only on the Graveyard, which of the 3 is your favorite movie and why. I want to hear it. I want to listen. I'm all ears. This is your discussion, your fan episode. I did this because this was voted by the fans. So I want to hear which movie of the 3, is your favorite. Whichever one gets a majority gets the point, takes the lead going into the final 3 categories. So this should be a lot of fun. I want to know which ones you guys like, and I want to know why. So please don't hold back. Let those fucking fingers type. What's your favorite of the 3 movies and why? Overall, your favorite of the 3. And like I said, majority will rule here. So we'll keep track of who voted for what. And then, of course, I will read your reasons as to why if you want to say why. So Drexel's White Boy Day quote in True Romance is iconic. Absolutely. So, okay, let's hear what you guys have to say. Let's see what you guys pick. What's your pick for the fan episode, fan vote? I'm very curious to hear what's your favorite movie of the 3. It's tough. It's definitely tough. I'll let you guys think about it. I'll let you guys ponder. And then, of course, I guess in the meantime, while you guys are doing that, we'll have our last 3 topics will be music versus music versus music, opening versus opening versus opening, and ending versus ending versus ending. This is a head scratcher, really. So none of them run to the front to start. Nothing goes to the start. I don't know. Real head scratcher. What do you guys got for me? What do you guys think? Because so far it's been pretty even, man. 2-2-2. That's not easy to do. And it's funny. It's like the first 2 went from Dusk Till Dawn, the second 2 went from MBK, the last 2 went from True Romance. So who will get the point to break this tie right now? I'm very curious to hear. Let's see. Sean Blue has a comment. My favorite of the 3 is True Romance because of the knockout cast, and Gary Oldman is my favorite character of all time and love him as Drexel. Dude, I know Gary Oldman said it was a tie between this and Lee Harvey Oswald as his favorite performance that he ever did or character that he got to play in JFK. Funny enough, directed by fucking Oliver Stone, which is AFK. I mean, I would love to see a movie with that character just as the lead. And they, for some reason, I mean, I think they could have done it at the time. They just didn't pull the trigger on that, man. It's a shame. But okay, so that's 1 vote, True Romance for the chat here. Anybody else? Anybody got some votes for us? I figured, this was picked by the fans. I wanted the fans to have a say. Isa Gonzalez, very nice girl. Okay, so I'm guessing that's the nice way of telling me she's no Salma Hayek, but she's very, very pretty. Which I could totally understand and accept. I don't know. I think she's fucking beautiful personally. True Romance easily. Okay, so Aiden says slam dunk. I thought Tony Scott's style mixed with QT's dialogue was just a match made in heaven. I love the characters and story so much. The film is stylish and the ending is amazing. Okay, so that's second vote for True Romance. Anybody else? Let's see what we got. Natural Born Killers all day long. Again, what Stone's statement is on American obsession with serial killers and reality TV, plus Mickey and fucking Mallory. Hell yeah. One vote for NBK. Speaking from Dust Till Dawn, I love the music video She's Just Killing by ZZ Top. Okay. I don't know if that's a vote for From Dust Till Dawn, but that's a comment on From Dust Till Dawn. Natural Born Killers, I never got sick of it. It's gorgeous to look at. Some of the most interesting cinematography ever. Great acting, great music, and I love the message. Okay, so we got 2 NBK, 2 True Romance. Anybody else? Anybody got? Of course. So I made a note in my head to do this, was to share the Grande's Graveyard community post at this time, because I did do a community post where people could vote. So let me get that community post up right now, because it looks like some people voted. So let me go here as I load this in. Bear with me, because we just need to go to the community post. And then I'll share the screen and we'll read those off as well. So let me go here and then screen share to that tab. Okay. Okay, so we had a few comments. I posted this like 10 hours ago. We got 10 comments. Let's see. So let me just make this big screen here. And there's no way you're going to be able to see those. Sorry. Okay, well, I'll read them out. So Dirk said Natural Born Killers. So we're not going to count you twice. We count you once. Natural Born Killers, no problem. Tom, the Undead of Night, said From Dusk Till Dawn, it has everything. Crime, horror, comedy, strippers, practical effects, and musical soundtrack by Tito and Tarantula. One of my faves. So there's the first vote for From Dusk Till Dawn. Aiden said True Romance. So again, we'll count that twice. We already got your vote. Hey, Internet, Eric here. All fantastic movies, but from Dusk Till Dawn is hard to beat. Okay, another vote for From Dusk Till Dawn. So that's 2. For me, it would be True Romance. Okay, Devious Diva has spoken. And then Mikey's Morg says, I like From Dusk Till Dawn. So that's 3 from Dusk Till Dawn. Let's go back to the chat here and see what Alpha says. If I had to choose which one I'd watch right now, it's probably True Romance. But if you ask me a year from now, it might change. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Sean Blue. True Romance is classic. That shoot at the end is just buck wild. Okay. So let's keep score at home here. And I'll keep it open. You guys could still, okay, another MBK. We got an MBK vote. So let's fucking keep track here. Let's start with the community post, then go to the live chat. Let's just do that. So we got 1, 2, 3 from Dusk Till Dawn. Did anyone in our chat say From Dusk Till Dawn? I don't think so. No. So, okay, 3 from Dusk Till Dawn. Then the other comments here in the community post was Aiden and Subjective Perspective Collective and Devious Diva. Who Devious Diva, I'm not sure is still here. So, okay, we'll count her True Romance, Aiden's True Romance. Let's see. Alpha's True Romance, Mernzy's True Romance, AJ's True Romance. So we got 5 for True Romance. And then Natural Born Killers, we had Dirk, we had Jamie, we had Labyrinth. And did anyone say NBK in this that I missed in the community post? I don't think so. So right now it's 5 to 3 to 3. Anybody have any last minute votes? Because otherwise it looks like True Romance could be taking the lead. I'll give you guys another 30, 45. I'll give you guys another minute. It's an hour and 7 minutes. We'll go to an hour and 8 minutes. And then the poll is closed. God damn it. Let's hear what you all have to say. Anybody with any last minute votes? Otherwise, True Romance is moving on with the lead into the final 3, baby. Let's see. Mersey, Tony Scott sure loved to end his films with a shootout. That's right. That's totally right. And he did a great job directing that. Yeah, no, interesting takes. Definitely some interesting takes. I'm appreciating how the show is going. I'm hoping you guys are liking it. I'm just, in the meantime, over this next 30 seconds, I'll share the screen back to where we were, and we can. I closed that tab. Shit. All right, well, whatever. I accidentally closed that tab, so you're just going to have me the rest of the show. Natural Born Killers, I walked out of the theater very confused. Really? Okay, that's interesting. That's something else. So, all right, last 10 seconds. Doesn't look like anything else is going to be taking the lead, but it looks like True Romance has got it. So True Romance goes over the fan vote of 5 to 3 to 3. Thank you all for voting. This was a lot of fun. And right now, we'll move on to our final 3 categories. Final 3 categories. This is a lot of fun. All right, let's take this home hot. So right now, True Romance leads 3 to 2 to 2 as we go into our final 3 categories. Anybody's game. Anybody can win right now. I had opening versus opening versus opening, ending versus ending versus ending, and music versus music versus music. So let's do with music first. I'll say this, and I'm gonna break the hearts of everyone who just voted to put True Romance in the lead, but you'll be happy you did because True Romance is not winning the music. I will have to unfortunately say this: I can't stand the Hans Zimmer score. I don't like it. I really, really don't. Like it sounds like fucking Truman Show score to me. Like it's just so weird. It's like it almost sounds like the xylophone. It's like do 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 do. It's too. I don't know. Just never liked the score of the movie. The soundtrack's not bad, but as far as a Quentin Tarantino entity, I think it's one of the weaker soundtracks, and it doesn't compare to anything he's directed from a soundtrack standpoint. So for me, True Romance would be in the gutter if you were doing just music versus music versus music. Natural Born Killers, I think, has some awesome music. I do. But for me, this is a slam dunk for From Dusk Till Dawn. I think From Dusk Till Dawn has easily the best soundtrack of the movies. Like I love how the movie opens. It's a dark night, bow, now, now, now. It's a dark night, bow, now, 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 now. And the song in the club with Salma Hayek, and oh my god, man, that is one of the best like not a strip tease, but just dances of all time where you're like you kind of lean in and like drool comes from your mouth. You're like, oh, like that's how beautiful Salma Hayek is. And of course, Quentin Tarantino wrote, and then I suck on her toes after she pours fucking alcohol down her fucking feet. Quentin Tarantino for you, ladies and gentlemen. But granted, a beautiful lady. Love that music. Love the music of From Dusk Till Dawn. I would agree with what Tom said. The Tito and Tarantula, I mean, they just did a great job. For me, I think From Dusk Till Dawn takes the musical category easy and is going to tie up True Romance here. Is anybody else? I don't know. Do people like the music in True Romance or Natural Born Killers better? I'd be curious. I did too, but I was young, doing dumb shit, and on the chemicals, it was amazing. Yeah, exactly. On chemicals, it was amazing. I think it was a big, and correct me if I'm wrong. Was that seemed to be like a big, like movie for young youth at the time, like the young, like teens, like late teens, early 20s. That movie probably was like the biggest fucking thing. I could only imagine, and I guess proving the point of Oliver Stone, like that would flock to see something like that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, and I just never liked the score. I don't like Hans Zimmer's score at all. Xylophone is too calypso. Yeah, there's the scene in particular is when he confronts his dad, Dennis Hopper. Christian Slater confronts Dennis Hopper, and he's going on and on and on. And I feel like they overused the score to the point where I was like, oh, it was like upon my rewatch, I was like, stop the score. Like this doesn't need music here. Like I was like, oh my god, it was like bugging me. I was like, god damn it, but it is still good. Sorry, but that MBK soundtrack is the winner for that's. Don't be sorry at all. That's the fun of this. It's a fan. Whatever you guys think, tell me, please. From Dusk Till Dawn gets my vote for the musical department. I still like the True Romance theme. Okay, fair enough. But I think, yeah, I would agree. From Dusk Till Dawn's got to win this one. You got it. Okay. I would rate Hayek higher with the hot nudity and Desperado, but she is great with a snake too. I choose from the three films True Romance, but they are all great bangers. Okay, so another says Romance has got twice as many as the other two. So True Romance is definitely the fan winner here. It sounds like music from Juno. Yeah, it's just it doesn't fit the movie. I was like, God damn. Not that the soundtrack is bad, just the score. It's like every time I hear it, I'm just shake my head. I'm like, what were they thinking? Like, I just don't like that music at all. But that is neither here nor there. We can move on from the musical category as From Dusk Till Dawn ties things up at 3 and 3 and 3 as we go to our last two categories, which were interesting here. Opening versus opening versus opening. And then we have ending versus ending versus ending. Opening versus opening versus opening, I think, is again not the easiest thing in the world because they all open so different. Like, okay, True Romance opens, you get to meet this character. He's this hopeless romantic that loves cinema. It's basically, hi, I'm Quentin Tarantino, played by Christian Slater. And you get this introduction to this world and the Tarantino verse, and it's a very welcoming opening. And as you go to the movies with Patricia Arquette and it's just very nice, warm, welcoming. And if you like movies like that, I think it's just such a nice, you just like, all right, like I'm welcomed in, let me sit down, take my seat, enjoy myself, get cozy. It's that type of an opening. So if you like openings like that, True Romance, easy. Natural Born Killers, I think, opens with a statement. I love the opening in the diner. I know QT didn't like it. QT hates the opening. He thinks the diner scene was so poorly done. I think it's so well directed. That massacre in the diner is just so great how it escalates. It almost feels like very guerrilla in how it's filmed. It's very interesting opening where it just becomes like this, women dancing in a fucking diner, people talking at the diner counter. All of a sudden, it's a fucking massacre, and they do all these interesting things. And eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch the tiger by the toe. I love how Juliette Lewis is playing. Who are we gonna shoot? And the lady puts the fucking the water thing, the water jug in front of her face, gets shot anyway. I love that. And the fat guys, like they leave him alive. I thought that was great. I thought that guy was great. And the guy getting his fingers chopped off, the fucking guy running to the car, and they threw the fucking blade at his back. And fucking that was amazing. It's a statement. It's such a statement. It's like one of those, you cannot be bored watching the opening of Natural Born Killers. It's just immediate. You're like, whoa, like, all right, the gloves came off 5 minutes in, baby. Let's go. And they never let up. It's a movie that never lets up from there. It just consistently keeps that batshit LSD pace to it from the whole way. And finally, From Dusk Till Dawn, which again, I don't know if I'd say a statement, but it's quite an opening. Like it's, sheriff walks in, bullshit at the counter, and then immediately here's your two pro/antagonist, Clooney and Tarantino, and they've got some girls by the hair with the guns, and you shouldn't have let them use the bathroom. What the fuck are you doing? And I deserve a fucking Oscar for how cool I was acting. And Richie, shoot the fucking bottles out from him in 3. You got about 2 fucking seconds to live. And they burn the guy alive. He comes out of the fire, starts shooting at them. And then they're arguing as the fucking place is blowing up and they're no-selling it and they drive off and you get that great, it's a dark night from dusk till dawn and all red text. Great opening. Really is a great opening. Let's see what y'all have to say. I want to hear it. Let's see. From Dusk Till Dawn easily. True Romance easily. I love Michael Parks. I do too. May he rest in peace. I fucking always for some reason forget he's in that opening. I'm like, oh shit, there he is. Opening equals Natural Born Killers, satire, experimental film, crafted together in something commercial. Was first and last time I ever saw that in an American film. All right, fair enough. From Dusk Till Dawn is great, but if you ask me, Mickey and Allery, it sets you up to buckle the fuck up. Okay. Opening From Dusk Till Dawn. All 3 films openings are phenomenal. I agree, but the winner is Natural Born Killers for me. And that sets us into a 3-3 tie going to the final category here. I'm very excited for this. This will decide the whole fucking show for me. I've heard your thoughts. I know your thoughts. I hear you guys. True Romance right now is the fan favorite here, but will something else win as we go to our final category, which is ending versus ending versus ending. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Parks deserved an Oscar for Red State. I love Red State. That's an underrated Kevin Smith movie for sure. I like that movie a lot. Yes, NBK. Okay, so NBK goes over for the best opening. Now we got a decision to make, ladies and gentlemen, because whoever wins this category wins the whole fucking show. Wins the triple threat, the 3-way dance, and is the reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. What wins? Any versus any versus any. All right, let's run through these endings. We'll go in chronological order. First, True Romance. Love the sit-down finale. Are you armed? Yeah. You want me? I'll put it over here if it makes sense. No. That's fine. That's fine. It wasn't fine. Love the sit-down. Love that it eventually escalates to the shootout. Oh shit! I'm freezing. And then it fucking insanity ensues, and you do get your happy ending as opposed to, like I was saying, the QT sad ending that he wanted. He wanted Patricia Arquette to die in the crossfire. Instead, she comes out carrying fucking Christian Slater, and they live happily ever after on the beach. It's a nice, sweet, happy ending. If you like your happy endings, it's a beautiful ending. And I do think overall, I like happy endings more than I like sad endings. It is a beautiful fucking ending. It really is. It's like one of those, it just makes you feel good. And like, it honestly always gets me in the mood to watch another movie. It's one of those movies that's like, oh my God, let's marathon this. Let's keep going until we can't fucking, keep our eyes open anymore. Love the ending. The ending to Natural Born Killers. Very interesting. The whole prison break, this fucking insanity. Robert Downey Jr. getting shot in the hand. Just all these people getting fucking massacred in this prison break. And it is just so fucking crazy. It's really the only way you can end that movie. It's the only way you can end a movie like that. It's fucking fantastic. I love the ending of Natural Born Killers. Just a lot of fun. This kind of shootout, and then some of the stuff where they're out and the experimental filmmaking there when they're deciding what they're going to do with Robert Downey Jr. I like that stuff. I think the whole fucking finale really works. I like the ending of NBK, and then of course Lastly, we have From Dusk Till Dawn, which ends with this fun kind of vampire battle in a bar where fucking they do the cross and the guy fucking the shotgun cross and shooting people and fucking vampires turning into rat creatures. Tom Savini turning, getting thrown by Fred Williamson into the door. Oh shit! And all the bats come in, and they have to battle them, and they fucking have the holy water, and it's a very fun finale. And then, of course, it seems like Juliette Lewis and Clooney are gonna get killed, and then, of course, Cheech Marin arrives just in time. Knock down the fucking door! They take the door down, and all the fucking vampires just explode because of the sunlight. And then he comes out and punches Cheech Marin in the face. Psychos do not fucking explode when sunlight hits them. I don't give a fuck how crazy they are. The great finale, and then Juliette Lewis, hey Seth, you need some company? And I'm a bastard, Kate, but I'm not a fucking bastard. And then you get them driving off kind of into the sunset, or the sunrise, if you will, the dawn, as you get this amazing pan out from Robert Rodriguez of the titty twister that you pan out and you see that it was like a vampire temple, like all the truckers, the cars, and you can only imagine how many fucking people were killed in this fucking bar over the period of time. And I thought that was brilliant. I was like, wow, like what a fun kind of final shot to end this movie on. It's tough. It's really tough. I want to hear what you guys think, and I'm going to let you know who wins the triple threat. Let's see what you guys have to say. True Romance easily, with the ending, it never fails to put a smile on my face. I would agree. It never fails to put a smile on my face. Let's see. MBK, again, the alternate ending is cool too, so you get the best of both worlds. From Dusk Till Dawn has the best final shot. I'd agree with that. Ending, NBK. Anybody else? Anybody else? Bueller, you want to weigh in on this before I give my ultimate winner of the triple threat? Because this was close. This was a very fun fan vote. Now, I would love to do this again. I would love to have the fans pick again because I like doing the verses and picking, but it's usually from a personal standpoint where I go, oh, I think these two movies are close. This was fun because you guys picked it. So, I mean, I think it was a lot of fun. Let's see. Yeah, True Romance. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else on the ending? Give you it's what we got, an hour 20. We'll give you to an hour 20, hour 21. What do you guys got? Anything? Anybody on the ending? I'm trying to keep you guys in suspense. All right, 10 seconds. I'll give you my answer. We got the drum roll, Mr. Clark Griswold. We got the drum roll. What do we got? Okay, my winner for ending and ultimately the entire fucking triple threat, in my opinion, it's a dark night. From Dusk Till Dawn is my personal favorite movie of these three. In my opinion, it wins the triple threat here. I've watched it way more than the other two in my life. I think it's easily the most rewatchable. I think it's the most fun. I think while there are a lot of aspects of the other two movies that I love, like True Romance, if I'm, like I said, looking to watch a romance movie, it works. Whether it's the fucking, Natural Born Killers, all the direction in that movie, that really, really works. And then From Dusk Till Dawn, I do think overall it's just the most fun. It has a little bit of everything, like Tom was saying. It's a very grand movie. So I would say From Dusk Till Dawn wins for me. This shit was fun as hell, John. I love the versus format. I've done a few of these. This was a lot of fun. This was definitely one that I was happy to do for the fans. So something I was excited to do. Sean Blue, I got to get going here. Have a good holiday, and I take care, Grande, and everyone else. Sean Blue, have a happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Great to see you as always. I hope you have an awesome holiday. Take it easy, Sean. See you, Sean. Later, Alpha and Dirk. Okay, so yeah, no, that was the, of course, triple threat three-way dance of QT versus QT versus QT. Of course, True Romance versus MBK versus From Dusk Till Dawn. A lot of fun, but From Dusk Till Dawn is going to go over in the end. I am a horror fan after all, so it's hard for me to, how the hell did I not pick the horror movie here? When I sat down and I was like, man, this is going to be close. And I was like, it's going to be interesting what wins that fan category, because obviously I would have said From Dusk Till Dawn. So my rank would probably been 4-3 to 2. But instead it was 3-3-3 going to the finale, and that was all because of you guys. So very cool. But everybody, I enjoyed doing this a lot, and no matter which one you pick of the three, I don't think there's really any wrong answer here. It's just a lot of fun. That was a blast, and it's nice to see love for all these bangers. Yeah, no, it seems like everybody really likes these movies. So I will try to do this more. I'll try to have the fans pick the next versus battle, whatever that may be. We're pretty booked coming up. We have, of course, tomorrow we'll do the Blue Teak Label Show where Mernsey and Corey will come on, and we'll go Blu-ray hunting together for an hour. Next week, we'll have Jake on for childhood horror memories. I'm looking very much forward to that. Bloody effing collector, Jake, who was on with us in the roundtable with Mernsey, me, and AJ. That was a lot of fun. It'll be fun having a one-on-one conversation with him, all things childhood horror memories. So you're going to want to stay in here for that. I've got December pretty much booked. I'll be posting the schedule to that as soon as humanly possible, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But everybody, have a safe, happy, healthy weekend. First, have a safe, happy, healthy Thanksgiving holiday. I hope everyone has a wonderful, holiday with friends and family. It's a day to be thankful for, food and family and friends and all these great things. So definitely everyone having a fun Thanksgiving. Buy some shit Black Friday and get some goddamn rest, everybody. Have a nice weekend. You can't go wrong with any of these, no doubt. I agree. Labyrinth, again, thank you and Aiden. Aiden and Labyrinth came up with the topic, so I appreciate it. This show is owed to them. I would never have thought of this. So those two guys, thank you. I appreciate you both thinking for the topic. 3 epic movies. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Absolutely. I will second that. But we will catch you next time. Everybody, cheers. Happy Thanksgiving, and we will catch you next time. Only on the Graveyard. 2 Sweet Peas. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Good night.